think we should just take a moment to breathe and then talk perhaps IEM Cologne 2022, because IEM Cologne 2022 is starting very, very soon, and I know a lot of you guys are kind of confused about how the format, what kind of teams are there, etc., etc. So I'll walk you through the entire thing and do a little preview what's going to be a lovely tournament. Can only get better than what we just saw right here, right? So IEM Cologne starts. IEM Cologne starts in a couple of days. IEM Cologne starts in a couple of days. More so actually tomorrow with the play-in stage. Let's just do this. Let's just do this, my friends. So we're heading into what's gonna be super, super awesome, because it is IEM Cologne 2022, the last tournament before the player break. What the player break is in Counter-Strike is that all the players have agreed 1 month where there's gonna be no tournament, so the players have time to spend time with the family, go on a vacation, get some sun, get some tan, etc., etc. So this will be the last tournament before we head into a month where the only tournaments that will be running is online tournaments without the tier 1 teams, because they are on a break. Now, IEM Cologne works a little bit differently than most tournaments. It's basically in 2 stages. The first stage is the play-in teams, which starts tomorrow already. So the play-in starts tomorrow. And in that regard, we have these teams you see on your screen right here. Heroic, Team Vitality, Outsiders, 00 Nation, Tyloo, Order, MIBR, Complexity, Big, Astralis, Spirit, Imperial, Sprout, Mouse, Pain Gaming, and Movistar Riders. So a lot of good teams, a lot of quality teams. You look at Vitality, Heroic, for that matter as well. I'd say Astralis is somewhat decent. Spirit, interesting how they're going to do after the major. Mouse as well, a team that we expect more from. They have then been divided into this bracket, where top 8 of these 16 teams progress into the main tournament. In the main tournament, the directly qualified teams are waiting. That's FaZe Clan, Na'Vi, Cloud9, G2, Liquid, Furia Esports, ENCE, and NIP. So basically the first stage of the tournament is a qualifier. 16 teams right here. 8 of these teams right here will then qualify into the main tournament, where they will team up and group up with these teams. So that's the format, as you can see right here. These teams have already been divided into Group A and Group B. So Group A is Na'Vi, NIP, G2, ENCE. Group B is FaZe, Liquid, Cloud9, and Furia. And then top 8 of these teams will progress into the playoff, where there'll be 2 quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Or top 6, that is. More about that later. So let's talk about the play-in stage first. It's very simple, actually. You have to win 2 games in order to progress to the group stage. 2 games straight away. Otherwise, you drop down in the lower bracket, where you also have to win 2 games. So basically, it's very, very simple. You lose 2 games and you are out of IEM Cologne. You win 2 games and you qualify for the next stage. It is that simple. So let's look at some of these matchups that we head into the first one. Heroic Sprout, that's an easy one. Heroic is looking very solid, have been looking very solid, now coming in with a new roster as well. Refresh joining Heroic, leaving Heroic and making space for Yabi. It's going to be the debut at a LAN tournament for him, so that's going to be very, very interesting. I fully expect Heroic to beat the hell out of Sprout. Not really much to say right there. Mouse going up against Pain Gaming, who did qualify for the Blast tournament, where they somewhat showcased themselves. I still expect Mouse Sports to win, but it could be a close game. Spirit, Complexity. Complexity has been an utter mess. Complexity have just looked absolutely awful. I don't know why they haven't made roster changes yet. I guess they're waiting for the summer break, but that's going to be a Spirit win in my book. 00 Nation with the new roster as well. That's going to be very interesting. You can see the 00 Nation roster right here. Cold Zero, Tri, Taco, Lado, and Dumao. They basically merged together, 00 Nation with Godsend. And I think this team is a lot more competitive than the 00 Nation team they had before. Going up against Astralis, I still expect the Danes to win. Astralis is looking slowly but surely better and better. I also suspect that it could be the last tournament. It could be the very last tournament where you're going to see Sipnix play for Astralis. So if you've been a Sipnix fan for the past 4 or 5 years, which I have, then cherish this, because it could be the very last time you're going to see Sipnix play for Astralis. I expect them to win. Big versus Order, that's going to be big all the way. I don't think the Australians have what it takes to beat them. Outsiders versus Imperial, that should be Outsiders all the way. Imperial have looked like a shadow of themselves since the major, or maybe the major was a bit of a fluke. At least the results have been abysmal ever since. MIBR Movistar Riders. Movistar Riders, who just won the Valencia Challenger tournament, looking super, super hot, going up against MIBR. I consider this a 50-50. I consider this a 50-50 game right here, so that should be interesting as well. Not sure who's going to win. I suspect Movistar with the form they're in right now, and then Tyloo Vitality. That's going to be Vitality all the way. So let's play with that thought. Then we have Heroic versus Mouse in this stage. I think that's going to be Heroic winning. by then Heroic progressing to the group stage. I think down here you're going to have Astralis playing Spirit. I think Astralis is going to win that, which means Astralis is going to progress to the main stage, group stage of IEM Cologne. Same here for Big versus Outsiders. I think that's more so a 50-50. That could be both, but I think Big have looked solid, at least online here, so they're probably going to win this one, progressing. And then Movistar Riders versus Vitality. I expect Vitality still to be able to beat Movistar Riders. So that'll be Vitality, you'd have Big, you'd have Astralis, you'd have Heroic. And then from the lower bracket, I basically consider teams like, again, the loser of Outsiders and Big will progress from down here, right? I think when you look at the teams, you look Heroic, you look Vitality, you look Outsiders, Astralis, Big. I'd say like these are givens. These 5 teams are givens. They have to qualify. Then Mouse most likely as well. That's 6 teams. And then I think teams like Movistar Riders, 00 Nation, Spirit, maybe, just maybe Tyloo, saw a little bit of improvement in them. They're going to fight for the last spot. So if I have to guess, I'd say Heroic, Vitality, Outsiders, Big, Astralis, that's 5 teams. I'd say Mouse, that's 6 teams. And then I'm going to say 00 Nation in the debut. They're going to be in a bit of a honeymoon period. And then Movistar Riders. Those would be my 8 teams progressing into the main stage of IEM Cologne, which you can see down here. They will be placed into Group A or Group B, where they'll face Navi, NIP, G2, ENCE, FaZe, Liquid, Cloud9, or Furia Esports. Now, who of those teams are going to qualify for the playoff? Well, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be very tough to figure out. Now, the way it works at IEM Cologne is that the winner of each group progresses straight into the semi-final. All right, so Group A winner goes straight into the semi-final, and Group B winner goes straight into the semi-final. Then there'll be the loser of this game goes into the quarterfinal, and the winner of the lower bracket goes into the other quarterfinal. Same goes for this group. So it's a little bit of a complicated format if you're not used to watching Counter-Strike. Out of the teams you see up here, I'd fully expect FaZe to go into the playoff. They have looked a little bit rough after the major. Let's be honest, but I think Kerrigan and the team is very motivated to finish off the first half of the year on a good note. Navi as well, winning, doing a great job, winning Blast. I suspect Navi to be in the playoff as well. Cloud9 looking solid. G2 actually played well at Blast, even though they didn't make it to the final. NIP is a bit of a wildcard to me. ENCE strong. Fury a bit of a wildcard. Liquid a massive wildcard, especially playing with a stand-in in Yerkendar. I think Heroic and Vitality, and perhaps Big, maybe Astralis, but these 2 teams are the only 2 teams I see challenging for a spot in the playoff as well. I don't think Outsiders, I don't think Astralis or Movistar Riders, if they make it to the next stage, I don't think they're going to be good enough to take down these caliber of teams. So for them, the goal would just be to progress into the main tournament, which is why I'm looking very much forward to Cologne. If I had to guess, I'd say we're going to have FaZe Clan winning Group B. We're going to have Navi win Group A. So we're the favorites to do it. We have G2 progressing into the quarterfinals together with Cloud9. And then I could see Heroic as well. Most likely Heroic will progress into a quarterfinal as well. And then maybe Vitality. They played better, but I don't know. Maybe Vitality or NIP, ENCE. You can't sleep on ENCE. ENCE will probably go into ENCE will probably clinch a spot in the quarterfinal as well, depending on who gets into the group, right? Because if you have Heroic coming into Group A, then you have Navi, Heroic, G2, and ENCE. That's 4 teams, and only 3 of them can progress to the playoff. The play-ins are best of 1 in the first game. This is going to be a best of 1 game, and then all qualifier games or elimination games will be best of 3s. So that's the way it works. Movistar Riders looking spicy, for sure. So that's basically a little bit of a preview of Cologne. It's going to be great. I look very much forward to it. As said, the last big tournament before we head into the player break, and quality teams all over. A lot of these teams, trust me, I know that from both official sources and unofficial sources. A lot of these teams will make roster changes after the tournament. So it's going to be the last time you're going to see some of these teams play in the Constellation. My best guess and the most obvious one is that it could be the last time we're ever going to see Xyp9x play a competitive Counter-Strike tournament for Astralis. So have you been a fan of Xyp9x the past 5 years? Root for him, root for Astralis, because it could be the last time you're ever gonna see him play at this level. Okay, so that's a little preview for ESL One Cologne. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll put this out on my YouTube channel as well, so you can rewatch it. I'll make sure that my editor puts in some cool stuff to it, and make sure that they'll put out some cool B-roll and some cool footage, and making it easier to digest for you guys.